Like any game with players that have mouths, Monster Hunter has its own fare of funky jargon that players use to describe their in-game experience. Today, let's cover a bunch of them before Monster Hunter Wilds comes out, since we're going to have a whole wave of new terms to deal with. A whole fleet of terms. I'm going to try and cover Monster Hunter specific terminology and try to avoid anything that's just RPG general like DPS or crit rate or that sort of thing. Some of these are going to be from World, but a few also have deep roots that go back to whatever disaster caused the original phrase. If you have anything to add or any mistakes I've made, leave them in the comments, and let's get started with to subscribe. Subscribing is when you win $1 bajillion for clicking the button that's down there. Wallbang. With the release of Monster Hunter Iceborne, Capcom added every single player's absolute favorite mechanic with no exception, the Clutch Claw. And with the Clutch Claw came a Slinger Ammo's least favorite mechanic, the Flint Shot. Man, I'm just so useless. I'm just a fruit, man. Why'd they even put me in the game? Nobody picks me up. Nobody talks to me. Wait, why is he picking me up? Guys, I got picked up. Guys, he picked me up. Guys, he put me in the slinger. Wait, what are you doing? Wait, what are you doing? Wait! To flint shot a monster, you simply wait for a monster's taco icon to become yellow, clutch onto its head, end up somewhere else, navigate to the head, and launch the monster into your local community rock wall. Because you bang the monster's head into a wall, the poets of the Monster Hunter community decided to call this wall banging. Flashing is when you sneak up real close to an unsuspecting monster. You unequip your armor, and against their consent, oh wait, this is the bug one. Flashing is when you use flash pods against a monster. While 6th Fleet Hunters have a humane, non-invasive way to get flash pods, 5th Fleet Hunters find some flash bugs, rip those babies in half, and send their carcasses careening toward your nearest flying monster. Since this is usually used to interrupt monsters, you usually say things like, flash insert monster out of something, like flash Safi out of her ult, or flash Azur Rathalos out of the air, or flash Lunastra out of being a rational monster. P1. Sieges are a relatively new addition to the Monster Hunter series, where a full 16-player lobby can all work together to fight a single monster with a pseudo-shared HP pool. Look, it's technically a shared energy pool or a how well are you chasing the golden lizard pool, but I'm not gonna get into it. Players can continuously go on the same quest, slowly depleting away at this pseudo-shared life until the monster succumbs to death by 1,000 cuts. How long does this take? 3 runs? 6 runs? Well, it turns out with a well-created build, a good set of strats, and a positive mental attitude. Actually, wait, we don't need that last one. It can be done in 1 run in under 15 minutes flat. This is called a P1 run. What does that stand for? In the first siege ever, Call of Taroth, Pursuit Level 1 was the lowest score you can get by basically disintegrating her without her playing hard to get, which is where the term P1 comes from. Despite the Safi siege not having pursuit levels, people still say P1 to refer to a single run clear. Clagger. Clagger is a combo of 2 words, which are clutch and stagger. And unlike other combo words like collywobbles, this one actually makes sense. For anyone who doesn't know, if you do enough damage to a monster, you can force it to stagger, where it decides it doesn't like the idea of saliva in its mouth and kinda just takes a breather, which will last for about 4 seconds. However, if you want to be real nice and give the monster an extra long break, nearing the end of the 4 seconds, you can clutch onto the monster, which will add another 6 seconds from the moment you clutch on. This is called a Clagger, and it's useful if you want to be real nice and have 3 other friends give the monster a nice triple weapon massage while it's relaxing. Hip check. The hip check is a very specific move animation gifted to God's chosen monsters in the game. It looks a little like this. Unlike a wellness check, this kind of check will cause mental damage. The original hip checker was the one and only Plesioth, with a hip hitbox range that covers multiple games, including, crazily enough, Monster Hunter Stories, where they named it Hyperspace Tackle because it's the hip that transcends time and space. However, this term is now used for any monster that does this animation because of how many monsters Capcom keeps putting it on. Heck, they're even giving us the ability to hip check now. Bouncing. Bouncing is what happens when you try to hit a monster in an area that's basically just too hard. This can usually be seen in spots where the monster is particularly armored, like a latrine's chest, or just anywhere if your weapon's sharpness gets too low. The actual logistics of this has to do with the sharpness multiplier and the hit zone value coming out to less than 25 or something, but let's not get too much into it. Some attacks ignore bouncing, like LS Spirit Slash and Hammer Charge attacks, and a few skills ignore bouncing altogether. Why can the hammer bounce at all? No idea. Probably for the same reason you need to sharpen it. Zoomies. This one has got a few meanings because of how loose of a term it is, but it mainly has two meanings. This can either mean when a monster is charging past you over and over in a way where you can't really hit it, like Ruiner Nergi when his time is coming to an end, or it can also be used when monsters do their Wak no Jutsu attack, where they sort of meander around with a massive hitbox. I guess that's technically the same as the first example, but it just feels a lot dumber. Quick little editor note, there's actually a secret third option for the Zoomies thing. Sometimes monsters' AIs can get a little fucked up, and for whatever reason or other, they'll just run in a circle for who knows how long. Those are also called Zoomies. Zoomies are a lot of things. Tripping. Not to be confused with tripping monsters, tripping players is when you interrupt other players by hitting them with your attacks. This is an intentional feature of multiplayer to attempt to get players to position themselves better. At least I think it is. Players love to play the tripping blame game, where they point fingers at certain weapons for being serial trippers. I'm of the camp that we should all run Flinch Free 1 and just wail on the monster, but I do believe you should avoid any moves that trip even through Flinch Free 1. If you ever want to start an instant argument in the Monster Hunter community, tripping is the #1 answer. Quick little editor side note, I think if you look it up, tripping technically refers to just the animation where you get knocked down to your butt. However, I think players these days just generally use this for any form of player interruption, including the one where you just throw your hands up in the air. Figured I'd mention it. Launching. Launching is tripping's big brother. A few weapons possess a space program and have one attack that can send your fellow players to a different planet. Now, most weapons don't want to do this attack because it's usually just worse for damage, but a few weapons will find themselves struggling not to mash the upswing button in fear of sending their fellow hunters back to the old world. Carding. Carding is the Monster Hunter term for dying, or I guess fainting. Every time your HP drops to 0, a caravan of cats comes to kidnap you back to camp. And so instead of saying you died or you fainted, players have long taken to saying that they carded. Every time you die and your failure count goes down by 1, you can say you took a cart. And if you cart all 3 times, failing the quest for everyone, you can say you triple carded, which is 3 times cooler than a normal cart. And that's all the terms we're going to cover for today, because that's all the time I had to edit this video for this week. How many did you know? Probably all of them, because these were pretty basic. But now that Monster Hunter is going to be mainstream, hopefully there's some new players out there trying to figure out what everything is called. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any you want to see in any future episodes, leave them in the comments. And if you're waiting for the What Monsters Teach You video, I may low-key be waiting for Wilds to come out so I can get some modern footage for them. Alright, see you guys, bye.